Dominate Weekly Pick'em
with Lisa Logic. Welcome back to week 2 of Lisa Logic. So this week what we're going to be doing is reviewing the week 1 results. How did I do? Did you guys get any money from my picks? And then we're going to be going through all the week 2 picks, including Lisa Logic. Here we go. So week 1 results. I did okay in week 1, but it's only week 1, so it can only go up from here, right? So week 1, I unfortunately only got 56% correct. So when you're looking through the games that happened on last week for week 1, we had the Cowboys versus the Bucks. I picked the Bucks, and they won. We had the Eagles versus the Falcons. The Eagles won, and of course that's who I picked. We then had the Steelers versus the Bills. They stole that show and won, and that's again who I picked. We had the Vikings versus the Bengals. The Bengals took it home, and that's who I picked. We had the 49ers versus the Lions. All right, my pick was the Lions. The 49ers won. I obviously forgot their secret weapon, which we'll discuss in my week 2 pick. The next up we had is the Cardinals versus the Titans. I did pick the Cardinals, and of course they won. We have the Seahawks versus the Colts. I picked the Seahawks, and yet again, of course they won. I picked, for the next game, the Chargers over the Washington football team, and of course the Chargers won. The next game, unfortunately, and kind of the rest of the afternoon, we had a little bit of a rougher time. For the Jets versus the Panthers, I picked the Jets. Unfortunately, the Panthers won, but I think I know how they got by doing that. So maybe we'll discuss that in another week's picks. Next up, we had the Jaguars and the Texans. Okay, I came back. Texans is who I picked, and Texans is who won. Then we had the Browns and the Chiefs. I chose the Chiefs. The Chiefs won. Then we had the Dolphins and the Patriots. I did choose the Patriots. The Dolphins won, but it was literally by 1 point. That's not a real win, people. So, count it how you want it on that one. We then had the Packers and the Saints. I picked the Packers. The Saints blew them out of the water. I was off base on that one. We then had the Broncos and the Giants. I unfortunately picked the Giants. The Broncos took it home. We then had the Bears and the Rams. Now that looked at our official offensive cuteness factor. Obviously it let me down. Those cute Bears that I were choosing didn't bring home the win. The Rams did, so I got that one wrong. And then our last one was the Ravens and the Raiders. Now this one went into overtime. Lots of crazy calls in this game, lots of sloppy play when we were watching it, but unfortunately I chose the Ravens and the Raiders took it home. So what are you going to do in that situation? I mean, nothing more but brush it off, move on to week 2. So let's get into our first pick. So our first game that we have on Thursday for week 2 is the New York Giants versus the Washington football team. Well, all I can say is a Giant is a huge, slow, and honestly has really ugly feet kind of guy. Have you seen the movie Hellboy? Do you remember that scene of Giants? They are not attractive at all. They're so uncoordinated. So when you put them up against a real football team, as they're playing this week, for sure the football team is going to be faster, they're going to score more touchdowns, and they're going to catch more interceptions. Can you picture it? Weaving through those big timbers of legs full of hairs and warts? Ugh, I know I unfortunately can. The only factor I hope is that they fix that little sewage problem at their stadium. But besides that, for this game, the Washington football team is going to be winning it. So our second game, which starts on Sunday, first thing, we've got a whole bunch in the morning lined up. We got the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Chicago Bears. So I know last week I went with the Bears, and this week I am going with the Bears one more time. I'm hoping hibernation hasn't set in. I mean, we have 2 predators here. They're both out for the kill, but the difference is bears hibernate. So they should be out for the kill with a much more intense desire since winter is coming. They have to fatten up before winter hits, and it's only 2 months away. I don't know if it'll be my last week, but at least for this week, I'm going one more time with the Bears. And this game, the Chicago Bears are gonna win it. Next up, we have the Houston Texans versus the Cleveland Browns. All right, listen up, people. Do you know what a brownout is? I'm honestly asking you. It's when there's a high electricity demand, which results in a reduction of power. Do you know what Browns Stadium is called? It's called First Energy Stadium. And guess where they're playing? that's where they're playing. So it's an obvious win-win for the Houston Texans, who are going to be observing a brownout against those Browns at their home stadium. I anticipate the Browns being slow, clumsy, and all of this is going to result in drop passes, missed field goals, and a low overall score. This will let the Texans take advantage of the Browns' humdrum performance this week. So it's a guaranteed win, Houston Texans in this game. So the next one we have up is the Los Angeles Rams versus the Indianapolis Colts. In this game, all right, you ready to listen to this one? We have some old hairy male sheep waving around their big old horns versus some young male horses wiggling around their balls. All right, look it up if you don't know what a colt is. If you know what's on a male's mind, duh, it's all about the ladies. So in this matchup, those male sheep, aka the Rams, they're going to be charging those lackluster colts who are way too worried about what the ladies in the stands are thinking about their performance, as well as who they're going to be meeting in the crowd later. Be watching for some rogue passes that might be headed towards the cheerleaders. Really, that's just the Colts trying to meet their match when their heads aren't in the game. So for this one, it's definitely going to be an LA Rams win. The next game up we have is the Buffalo Bills versus the Miami Dolphins. You ready for this one? As Buffalo Bill says, it puts the lotion on the skin or it gets the hose again. Right? Huh? Well, do you know what though? Dolphins don't need lotion. And I hate to break it to you, but they love water. So this week, the Miami Dolphins are going to do flips over those creepy old Buffalo Bills, and they're going to take them down. So for that game, the Miami Dolphins, they're going to take it home. The next game we're looking at is the New England Patriots versus the New York Jets. So these teams both lost last week. Well, and Lisa Logic thought they would both win. So at this point, they're both jonesing for a win. But if a Patriot from back in the 17 or 1800s were to see a jet soaring above them, they wouldn't know what to do but run and hide. So this week, the Jets are going to be raining down that jet fuel all over those Patriots and burning past them on the turf. So for sure, it's going to be a huge Jets win this week against the Patriots. Here's where I missed something last week. So San Francisco 49ers are playing the Philadelphia Eagles. So last week, I completely forgot about the 49ers' secret weapon. A gold miner's best defense is obviously a pickaxe. So when those Eagles land on the turf, the 49ers are going to pick them off one by one, leaving room to run the field and score multiple touchdowns. The Eagles stand no chance against the pickaxe, right? So of course it's going to be those 49ers who are out for the gold and for the win this week. Next, we're looking at the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, we have two conniving teams battling each other. The Raiders are swashbuckling pirates out for treasure, and the Steelers are always looking to steal anything in their sight. Lisa Logic definitely leads to a Steelers win over the Raiders. The Raiders left out the treasure they stole from the Ravens just this past week, and the Steelers are going to swoop in, leaving the Raiders scratching their heads and wondering what in the world just happened to them. So for sure, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're going to take another win this week against the Raiders. We're now going to look at the New Orleans Saints versus the Carolina Panthers. So the Saints, they're an honest bunch, but the Panthers definitely are not. Last week, little did I know, but the Panthers swapped the New York Jets fuel out and replaced it with Panther P, leaving the Jets last week with no fuel to win. This week, you know what? The Panthers are yet again going to pull some tricks out on the Saints. Lisa Logic predicts that the Panthers will sneak their way past those oblivious Saints to score the touchdown, including at least 1 to 2 plays that will leave their hometown crowd in awe. So for this week, the Carolina Panthers are going to take that win. All right, now we're going to look at the Denver Broncos versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. This week, it's all about speed between these two teams. Did you know that a Bronco can run 25 to 30 miles an hour, but a Jaguar can run up to 50 miles per hour? So this week, like I said, it's all down to the speed between these two teams. The The Jaguars potentially are going to be running circles around those Broncos, but that might be their downfall. So those high-speed chases are going to leave them tired, allowing the Broncos to catch up and win this one out from under the Jaguars. So this week, it's all headed towards the Denver Broncos for this game. All right, we're now going to look at the Minnesota Vikings versus the Arizona Cardinals. There is no doubt that the Arizona Cardinals are going to take home the win this week. Here's why. The Cardinals are used to that hot Arizona weather. They can fly through the sky, cooling off while taking a few breaks in the shade. A Viking, however, they're used to cold temperatures. Not just in the olden times, but now, living up in cold old Minnesota. So they're gonna melt like ice cubes in that Arizona heat in the middle of the afternoon. So for sure, for the win this week, it belongs to the Arizona Cardinals. The Atlanta Falcons versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is the next game we're looking at. So last week, the Falcons had a rough week, while the Buccaneers did prevail in their game. It's quite possible the Falcons are gonna claw at those Buccaneers for revenge from their last week loss, but last time I checked, Pirates, number one, they only need one eye. They can have a little eye patch over it and they'll be just fine. Number two, a pirate is usually wearing some thicker leather clothing, so those talons aren't gonna penetrate them. And number three, a pirate carries a sword, so they can swing and chop those Falcons down from out of the sky. So I can with great certainty say, for this week, the win is going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Dallas Cowboys are going to be playing the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers struck down that electricity last week, and they're going to have a repeat performance for this week in week 2. Unfortunately, the Cowboys are going to be dodging those lightning strikes during the whole game, which is going to allow the Chargers just to take charge of the game and take down the Cowboys. So for this win, it's going straight to the Los Angeles Chargers. So we're looking next at the Tennessee Titans versus the Seattle Seahawks. We're going to have to return to using some of last week's Lisa logic when looking at this game. So the Titans, once again, are too large and too slow to take down the quickness of a Seahawk, who, if you look it up, could potentially fly as fast as 80 miles per hour. So I can easily again predict that the Seahawks, they're going to fly away with this win. So for the win this week, it belongs to the Seattle Seahawks. Alright, so now we get into our Sunday night game. So last week we looked at the OOCF, the official offensive cuteness factor, and it let me down sadly. Didn't get my win, the other team got it, even though the other team was cuter. So this week we're going to look at the ODCF, the official defensive cuteness factor. So first up, we're going to be looking at the Kansas City Chiefs. So the first person that I look at is Chris Jones. What's that comedian's name that he looks like? Tracy
Morgan?
He looks just like Tracy Morgan. Very goofy smile, no point there. Next up, Jarran Reed. Next, DERRICK NNADI. I don't know how you say that. He doesn't look very naughty, if that's what it means. And he also isn't going to get a point, unfortunately, for the Kansas City Chiefs. On to the next. So next we look at Frank Clark. Yet again, no thanks. Next. Next we look at Ben Neiman. Ben Neiman looks goofy. A lot of these guys look pretty darn goofy. He's a goofy one. No point. Next we're looking at Anthony Hitchens. If he shaved some of this, there might be potential. But for now, unfortunately, no point. Next up we're looking at CHARVARIUS Ward. I probably said his name wrong. Sorry. And again, I question some of these guys. How does all that hair fit in a helmet? I just, mind-boggling. I don't understand. No point for this one either. Next up, we're looking at L'Jarius Sneed. Maybe that's how you say it. I've never pronounced his name. He does not look very happy. Doesn't look like someone who I would be like, He doesn't look very happy, doesn't look very welcoming, and isn't gonna get a point as well. Next up we have Mike Hughes. Mike looks like he has the flu. So I hope he's feeling well when it comes to Sunday night's game. And for now, no point. So, you know that one guy that wears the turtleneck to the party that everyone's like, I don't know about him. There's Daniel Sorensen. Why would you wear a turtleneck? All the other pictures, it looks normal. No turtlenecks, no point. And last up we have TYRANN MATHIEU. I probably said that wrong as well. He is gonna earn the Kansas City Chiefs a point. He's actually pretty darn cute. If you kind of move that hair around and you look at those crystal blue eyes, he definitely has earned a point for the Kansas City Chief. So official defensive cuteness factor, unfortunately the Kansas City Chiefs are only getting 1 point. So it doesn't look very good for them yet. But they're up against the Baltimore Ravens. The first person we see on the Baltimore Ravens is CALAIS Campbell. Again, I could be saying that wrong. He looks like a happy gentleman, but he's not gonna get a point for cuteness factor. Next up we have Brandon Williams. He has a very, very large head. I feel bad for his mother. I don't know how she did that. He does have a very nice smile, but he's not gonna get a cuteness factor point. So next up we have DERRICK WOLFE. I have a question, B-Cobb, when did you start paying for the Baltimore Ravens? Because you look very similar. What in the world? Next up we have Justin Houston. Justin Houston does not look very nice. I wouldn't mess with him, none of it. He probably intimidates everybody he plays against, and he is definitely not getting a cuteness point at this point. Next up we have Patrick Queen. He doesn't look like a queen. He has a decent smile, but nothing too crazy. Unfortunately, he's not going to earn them a point either. Malik Harrison. He needs to learn to smile. Is not a smile. We'll move on that one. No point. Next up we have TYUS Bowser. He looks like one that's definitely closing the gaps when those running backs are coming towards him, but his teeth don't. So, no point, on to the next. We got Anthony AVERETT. Now he's cute. I'll give it to him. I'm not crazy about the hair, but he has a very cute face, an okay smile, and he's gonna earn a point for those Baltimore Ravens. All right, next up for the Ravens, we have Chuck Clark. So, Chuck has a little of a unibrow. If we could fix that up a little bit, he might earn a point, but unfortunately, not today. And the next one we have up is DESHON ELLIOTT. This guy looks like he's like 15 or 16. I mean, maybe you can draft out of high school, I guess, but I don't think that's his story. He has an extremely young looking appearance. And for me, that's not gonna give him a cuteness point for the team. And last up, we have MARLON Humphrey. Definite point. He is adorable. He's got a cute smile. He looks very friendly. And, you know, why not? Let's give him a point. So overall, official defensive cuteness factor is going to go to the Baltimore Ravens. So between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens are going to be taking down those Chiefs with a cuteness factor of 2-1. All right, so for our Monday night game, this week we have the Detroit Lions playing the Green Bay Packers. So I had 2 people write in and let me know who they thought was going to be winning based solely on Lisa logic. So the first person said, using Lisa logic, the Lions will beat the Packers because if the Packers try to pack the Lions, they're going to get their balls bit off. So that's the first one that's going for the Lions. The next person said, Lisa, as far as the Lions versus the Packers, my prediction will be for the Lions. Considering the Packers are meat packers and the Lions eat meat, they would devour the Packers. So we have 2 votes coming in for the Lions. So for you guys out there, you've picked the Lions as your winner for the Monday night game. Now, let's throw a little twist on it. What if the Packers had the meat out to lure the Lions away from the win? So, I know you guys have voted for the Lions. I'm going to throw it out there that quite possibly the Packers could still take down the Lions on Monday night. Just a little twist on Lisa logic. So let me know for next Monday night who you guys think is going to be the winner based on Lisa logic. So next Monday night we have the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Dallas Cowboys. So in the comments down below, please leave a comment letting me know based on Lisa logic who you think is going to win and why. I hope you enjoyed week 2 of Lisa Logic football picks. I hope you'll stay tuned for week 3. If you guys want to see anything else included in this, please let me know. I know some of you guys have asked for what I think for spreads across different games. So if you want to see that possibly in week 3, let me know. Everyone take care. Bye.